Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Bill and this is Mr. Milo. We've had a lot of comments about Mr. Milo and you will see him at the end of the show. I'm going to include a segment at the very end of every show called Milo's Moment. So you'll get to check that out. Well, we have breaking news. I have breaking news to tell you. If you remember in my first video, uh, the whole video was dedicated to my search for a Ford Maverick. And as you saw in the video, it didn't come out the way that I wanted. I searched and searched, and we just couldn't make it work. The numbers just didn't work, and it just didn't look like we were going to be able to find one that worked. Well, to really solidify that, one thing that you don't know that, or you may know, there was a national recall for the Ford Maverick, and I just didn't really think that that was going to be too bad of an issue. There's always recalls. We see recalls all the time, but this was a national recall that called all the dealers into an agreement that they wouldn't even let a Maverick leave the lot. Now, this recall dealt with the rear camera, and that can be very sensitive to the U.S. government. I can understand that with the opportunity and the potential for accidents to happen. So anyway, they stopped all of the release of the Mavericks. And if you, once again, in that last video, you saw that the dealer I was working with had a lot of Mavericks. And so even though we weren't able to make a deal work and come to a deal because of the money situation just didn't work, well, it was all for naught anyway because this recall was going to prevent it from happening. But here's what happened. I got a call from the general manager of the dealership that I was talking to, who I know this dealership. I know this lady that's the GM, really, really nice lady. And she had a very sincere interest in helping me out and wanted to know all the details and didn't want to throw anybody under the bus. It wasn't the fault of my the gentleman that was helping me or anything like that. It just didn't look like it was going to work. But one of the things that was a factor, didn't go into much detail on this before, was the trade-in value. If you remember when I was originally talking about leasing this Maverick, I didn't even talk about a trade-in. I was just going to keep that. I have a 2012 Lexus IS 250, which I really loved. Paid cash for the car a couple of years ago. Actually did a paint job, gave it a paint job. Um, Tinted the windows and took care of some of the minor little dings on it and turned it out to it turned out to be just a really nice car. So I really didn't think I was going to trade it in, but I thought, well, it didn't make sense having another different insurance policy and things like that. So well, what is it worth? Well, I knew Kelly Blue Book was putting the value of the Lexus around on a private sale around 7,500, 8,000, 9 maybe, and on a trade in at least six to seven basically. So they I did have them before I got that phone call. I did have them do that before, even on the Maverick, but I wasn't going to take it into consideration. But they were offering $3,500, $3,500 for this Lexus that I'd paid basically $9,500 for 2 years ago. And so that was pretty much an insult to me, $3,500. And so I told that to the GM that that seemed really low for me. I checked it out and all that. So she basically said, "Well, I tell you what, I'll get back to you, see what we can come up with." Well, she got back with me a few days later, explained the whole recall situation with the Mavericks, and that just didn't seem like it was going to work. But she wanted to know if I'd be interested in a Ford Ranger. Of course, immediately I'm saying, well, if the numbers didn't work on a Maverick, how are they going to work on a Ranger? It's more expensive, it's bigger. I wanted it to fit in my garage. So she called me and said, "Come down here and take a look." So I went down, and they had a Ranger there, a 2024 XLT. I took a look at the one they had on the lot, and I think it was black. I really liked it. I loved all the features of it. It was much bigger And the tow capacity on the Ranger is 7,500 pounds as compared to, remember what I was looking at, the Ford Maverick with the 4K tow package was 4,000. So 7,500 would suffice for me for anything that I was thinking about doing. So they said, well, take it home and see if it'll fit in your garage and test drive it, and see what you think. So I did. Took it home and spent quite a bit of time with it, and I loved it. I loved the way it looked. It had some great features on it. This was the XLT. The only thing I saw, it did not have a receiver hitch. So I thought, well, my gosh, I've never seen a truck without a receiver hitch. How are we going to do a tow package without a receiver hitch? And they said, yeah, that's something that they don't do. So we're going to have to try to find something else. So I thought, okay, well, there's another strike. This thing's going to go away again. And a couple of days went by, and they actually called me back and said, okay, we have one with the receiver hitch, exactly the way you want it. It's black. I said, okay, well, I'll take a black one. Everything was fine. The only difference is this is an FX4. I didn't know what the FX4 was. Well, it is their four-wheel drive off-road package. So I thought, wow, okay. But immediately I said, now is this going to knock the pricing up? They go, no. We're gonna make this number work for you. And so I went down and picked it up and drove it home. And as a test drive, that was going to be part of my test drive, and really got a really good look at it. And the best thing of all, believe it or not, it fit in the garage. So here it is, guys. What was supposed to be a Maverick, several versions of the Maverick, which didn't happen because of a national recall. I actually ended up with the Ford Ranger. This is the XLT. It's also the four-wheel drive FX4 series, which is really nice. I was just real lucky to get into it. They gave me a really good deal. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, I wanted to lease, and so I really liked the way it all came out. I'll tell you about the pricing and everything in a little while, but let me walk you around this thing. This is a 2024 Ford Ranger XLT XF4, which is the FX4, which of course is the four-wheel drive. So it's a little bit larger than the Maverick, obviously. The really neat thing about the Ranger is the towing capacity. This thing will tow 7,500 pounds, whereas the Maverick, even with the 4K additional package, is 4,000 pounds. So no trouble at all hauling the travel trailers that I want to pull with 7,500 pound capacity. So I like the way that they did the engraved Ranger on the back, which is really nice. So let me show you. Here's where the sticker price ended up, which was a lot more than I thought it was going to be. However, I have to tell you in a minute what we did to be able to get my payment down on this thing. So this thing added up pretty quick, but they came off of it pretty quick. You can see a lot of the additions that it has, which is pretty standard with the XLT FX4 model. They said it'll get 22 miles to the gallon. I got 17 already on my first fill up, so we'll see how that works out. But let me show you around this thing. The interior, as compared to the Maverick, is so much different. I mean, this is so much nicer. It's got the regular door panels. It doesn't have those hollow door panels like the other one. Let's start back. Let's start back here. Lots of space back here. This has, like the other trucks do, the XLT has the pull-up seats. I've already got some of my things down in there. Not a lot of storage. You can't go up underneath there, but not bad. Plenty of leg room. It has, interesting, it's got a pocket on the passenger side, but not on the driver's side. That's interesting. I like the AC outlets. It's got 2 AC outlets, one back here and then one in the bed, along with the 12-volt outlet in the back as well. And you can see both versions of the USB adapters back there. So it does have the pull down drink holder, which is nice. It's got the holders on both ends. Interior is really nice. It's not leather, but it's the next best thing, I guess. So, and what I really like about this Ranger too is it's got the automatic rear window, which is really nice. I was driving around this morning. It was cool here in the mid 70s, and had the windows down and that open, and it really made for a nice drive. I really like the design, so much better than the Maverick. I really did like the Maverick when I first saw it, but wow, look at all the fingerprints on this screen. I'll turn it on here in just a second so you won't have to see that. But you know, it's got the control down here for the 4-wheel drive. It's got several modes: Eco, Sport, Normal, slippery roads, all those things, which I'll show you in just a second. Lots of space. I've already put my little phone adapter in here, but it's got a nice little rail of storage over there. A lot of storage up underneath there, and that is a full charging pad, phone charging pad, and you still have your adapters up underneath there. Lots of storage in here. I've already got some of my stuff in here. It does have the little switch here to turn off that auto start thing, that when you come to a stop and the engine stops and then restarts, you can turn that off by doing that, which I do not like that feature that they put on these things. And it defaults, whenever you start the engine, it defaults to that being on. I wish it was reversed, where it defaulted to it being off and then you could turn it on, because I'm always having to remember to turn it off. Lots of leg room up here. Standard type accessories up here. This is for the rear window, the lights. Let me start this thing up. A lot of displays. So now you can see the display lighting up. This is the first vehicle that I've had that's had a full display such as this. Lots of different things, so many different functions on it. You can operate. It even has the operator's manual inside here. It's just amazing. You can go to the home key and you see all of the different functions, but it even has a sketch, which is real interesting. You go over here to sketch and you can actually draw out. So I'm so sorry here. I lost audio. I have no idea why, but I just want to continue on. The sketch mode and the sketch feature is just incredible. You can go in there anytime and you can write your notes in there. You can draw pictures. You can color code anything that you want. It's the strangest thing I've ever seen. But it just has so many features. As you see on here, there's the zone lighting. You can change the lighting any direction that you want. The owner's manual, completely digitized in the computer, is really a nice feature to have. It has a great search feature, so anything at all you can go in there and decide what you want to do. So many features that are on the steering wheel. Won't go into all that detail. It's just too much. It just does too much. So it tells you everything that you can imagine. If you're getting too close to any vehicles on the side, in front of you, or in the back, anything that's going on in the car, it completely tells you about. So it's just an amazing computer that these new cars have. It's just absolutely amazing. And here's a feature that I really love, is the heated seats. I was really hoping that this model would have it. The XLT on the Maverick with the luxury package did have it, but it looked like I was going to lose it. And when then I got this one, I really wanted to have the heated seats, so it is included in the XLT Ranger. And here's another feature that I really do like, and it is the automatic pull in and push out of the side mirrors, and it's in the control right here on the top left. You can do it automatically, which I have mine set on. Every time you turn the engine off, they come back. So let's take a look at the engine. As you can see, the thing I like about this engine on these engines, look how much space you have all around this. This is a 2.3 liter EcoBoost 4-cylinder. It's 270 horsepower. Generates 310 pounds of torque. Uses 18.7 gallons of gas. But look at the range. I mean, the space that you have around here. Looks like it'd be very easy to work on. Everybody, mechanics can get to things very easy. But Ford builds a really good engine for these things. These EcoBoost are really, really strong engines, and like I said, definitely enough to pull 7,500 pounds. It comes either with the 2.3 liter or the 2.7 liter V6. You can get either one, but as I said, both of them can pull 7,500 pounds. So take a look at this bed. This is a 5-foot bed that we have here, and this is the spray-in liner that I had put in. I had sprayed in. But this thing is built, as they say, built Ford tough. It's got the ringlets that you can see on the back behind the cab. There's 2 of them there, 2 of them on the sides. And take a look at, these are the power outlets that you see here. The first one, that's the 12-volt outlet. And then the next one is the 110-volt outlet. I did find out that the engine has to be running for those things to operate correctly. But just a really nice bed that they build on this truck. So once again, here it is, the 2024 Ford Ranger XLT FX4. Just a beautiful, beautiful truck. I couldn't believe it. It actually did fit in the garage. So I was like, okay, if we can, what can we do with these numbers? And they knew where I needed to be. If you remember back, I was trying to get my lease under $400. I actually came up to about $425. We actually settled with everything right around $450 on this one, which I was okay with. I added a couple of little things. I did add the spray-in bed liner. I added that to the lease amount. A couple of other little things. I knew that I was getting a much nicer vehicle, and this thing is solid. If you haven't taken a look at the Ford Ranger, I bought my son a Ford Ranger back 15 years ago, and wow, have they changed. It was a small truck back then. It's not a small truck anymore. The F-150s, compared to the F-150, it looks a lot like the F-150. It's a little smaller, you could tell, but not by much. So I tell you, if it wasn't for the help of the dealership, dealerships take a lot of grief and a lot of negative comments. But I will tell you, my experience, and I'll put that in the description, who I bought the truck from and my contacts, in case you're here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They were awesome. They really, sincerely, mainly the general manager, wanted to help me with this, and they made it work. I don't think it hurt at all that it was right toward the end of the year. It was right before Christmas, so I don't think that hurt it at all. So in summary, my journey started out with a search for a Ford Maverick. Didn't know the difference between an XL and an XLT, and the prices kind of kept going up, and the XLT really looked nice. It met most everything I wanted, except I had to have that 4K tow package. that didn't work. The numbers didn't work on that. And then the recall comes in. That took the Maverick out of play altogether. That led to, well, how about a Ranger? Didn't think I could afford it. Didn't think the deal was going to work. Found one. Didn't have a receiver hitch. They continued to work with me, wanted to make this thing work. We found one with everything except it was the FX4 package, which I have loved. I love all the features to this. And so a very successful ending now, I will say, was a happy ending. The Maverick was not a happy ending. I had my hopes up that that was all going to work out. Looked like it fell apart completely, which it did, but it turned into something really good. I'm very happy with the 2024 Ford Ranger. I highly recommend, if you're in the market for a smaller truck that you can afford. This thing, actually, the list price on this was around $44,000, which was a lot higher than I would have ever paid. No way I would have been able to do it on a buy, but I did decide I was going to lease it. I'd already decided what my monthly payment could be, that I was just going to put that in my budget as a cash flow amount. And that's what I was going to have to. If I wanted to drive a nice truck, I put it on a 36-month lease, so every 3 years I can upgrade and just do it again. So I finally got to that point in my life that I decided that that's what I was going to do. I didn't want another asset, because once I get an asset, I really work hard to pay them off, and I didn't want to go through that stress again. So so there you have it. A very happy ending to a story that didn't think it was going to be that way. So as I said earlier, I'm going to start ending my segments with a little Milo segment. Mr. Milo was feeling a little under the weather today. Had a couple of little issues, and I think he's going to be fine. But I asked him if he wanted to come on camera with me, and he said no, he'd rather not. But he would allow me to put in his Milo moment at the end of the video. So that's what you'll see here in just a second, and I'll continue to do those. So from all of us, including Mr. Milo, until next time, be safe out there. Remember to always, as we say, we report, you fact check. So until next time, have a great day.